I grew up in Pennsylvania in the Pittsburgh area.
What did you want to be when you were growing up?
Originally, I wanted to be a doctor, and I realized I didn't like biology classes or chemistry really, a little bit. So I changed my major partway through college.
Why did you change?
I just didn't enjoy the classes, and so I wanted to do something that I felt like I enjoyed because I knew I would be doing it the rest of my life. So I started taking classes in different areas, and I went back to my favorite, which was English.
Uh, what was your high school experience?
My high school experience was, I guess, not too different from St. Charles High School, but in some ways very different. So it was a very small school. We had only 100 students or less per grade. So you knew everybody in the high school. K through 12 was one building. So you moved sections of the building, but you never left the one area. So we had a good athletic community because you always were a Ram, like how we're Spartans. But it was not the best academically. I did well, but my peers, not necessarily.
What was your favorite subject in high school?
English, always been my favorite.
What college did you go to?
I went to the University of Pittsburgh, main campus, which I loved.
When did you figure out you wanted to teach for a living?
I believe it was my sophomore year of college, and I took a job, like a part-time job, teaching preschool students, and I really liked it. So then I took a job teaching middle school students during the summer. And I really liked that, so that kind of set it for me.
How long have you been teaching for?
This is my 8th year of teaching officially. I did student teaching and stuff before, but
Did anyone influence you to be a teacher? If so, who was that?
mostly those experiences during college, especially teaching the middle schoolers. I taught inner city Pittsburgh kids, and they made me love it. And I still feel the same way about the students I teach now. So I feel like I really found the exact kind of school I want to work in, and I love students. So
And what's your inspiration to keep teaching?
it's always the students for me. I love English, obviously, so I like the subject matter, but I don't come to school every day for English. I come for students. So that's what makes me stay in education.
Do you find it stressful?
I think it can be. I think the time commitment can be a lot, and like with grading and all the things that have to be done outside of hours, because there's just not enough hours in a day, really. And if you go to sporting events, that takes a lot of time. But also, if you have a bad day with a class or with a student or something happens that's disappointing, it's something that kind of leaves with you. Whereas other professions, I think you kind of can do your work at work and leave and it's over. I don't think teaching's really like that, so that's difficult.
Have you ever thought about changing your career?
I've never thought about leaving education, and I don't think I ever will. I think I would have at this point, but I have thought of moving on to maybe be an administrator or something else in the field of education at some point.
If you could change your career,
Um, I would probably, if I had to change my career, I would do something with writing. So I would either, maybe I would write a children's book or like for teenagers, or maybe I would be a journalist because that's what my degree area was in. That was my specialization. So that's probably what I would do.
how did you end up teaching there at St. Charles?
I worked at Mattawoman Middle School before. Um, I had a friend that worked in this area, so she kind of suggested that I come down here to teach. So I taught at Mattawoman. I loved it. I taught there for 5 years. But eventually I wanted to teach high school anyway, and I knew that. So I waited till I knew this new high school was opening, and I applied, and here I am.
Would you like to share anything from your teaching experiences?
I think the one thing that I would want to share or take away from it is that I think that every single day matters in teaching, and it's it's very important, and I would always suggest that people get into teaching, but only if you have a love for students and for helping people, and you have to have a thick skin.
Do you have any advice for someone who wants to be a teacher?
My advice would be to only do it if you love it, because I think it's a job that you have to love. And if you're going to, you have to not take anything too personally. You have to have a thick skin so when something happens it doesn't go your way. You have to figure out ways to cope and not let it affect you long term. And really just try to stay positive and remember that you're in it for students. And I think it's a great career.